we'll take plenty of time and hear what all you got to say. Thank you for coming. If you've had a chance to look at the minutes, I would entertain a motion to accept. There's no question.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. When you get a chance, Bob, if you would, get our financial report going.
All right, was from on our checking account number 1, the meter-free checking account at Farmers Bank and Trust, beginning balance as of May 1st of $120,470.08. We had deposits in the amount of $8,738.25. No other activity leaves an ending balance of $129,208.33 as of May 31st. Checking account number 2, it's a first security main operating account. We had a beginning balance on May 1st of $43,276.40. We had deposits in the amount of $238,720.63. Had disbursements in the amount of $231,762.62. Leaves an ending balance as of, it has here April 30th, but it's May 31st. Ending balance of $50,234.41. The savings account at Farmers Bank and Trust had a beginning balance on May 1st of $6,711.50. No activity, had an ending balance at May 31st of $6,711.50. The Gateway CDs, that CD matured in a month or so ago. Anyway, it earned $918.91 interest, so its value now is $47,301.89. And our checking account, number 3, the easement acquisition account, we had a beginning balance as of May the 1st of $118,131.72. We had deposits and was interest of $11.97, leaving and we had disbursements made in the amount of $32,096.40, leaves an ending balance of, as of May 31st, of $86,047.29. That is it. Now I have Rhonda, she can give the rest of the financial on the county part.
It was a fairly normal month, nothing highly unusual. Just like to go over the numbers with you. I did leave a new Saline County, the billing list that we're going to do. Todd, I always appreciate him asking me questions and stuff. I added the easement amount, so we will be billing tomorrow the county for the $190,000. It's on that list.
Did 2 of those get billed last month?
I'm going to double check them.
Okay.
I'm not.
Because I noticed they were May and.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. I'm going to double check that.
And then whatever it is, you're going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so you can see all of them. Everything that's on that financial report that you receive are all of the checks and things that we did. I was able to pick up the check for $250,000 from the county yesterday and deposited it yesterday. So we now have that in the bank. The checks that we wrote today, I will mail out, and they will be covered. So that's good. So when you look at your accounts receivables, that one that was listed as open when I sent this to you is now paid, and we will add the one from this month to that. Your rolling average, if y'all look at it, we will take that $250,000 off, which actually, now that we have it, just for y'all to note, we'll reflect it next month, but we're down to $5,012,085 left on it. Not a lot of other things. All the bank statements are balanced. You know, everything on the balance sheet there goes over to that financial record you have and all the bank statements, the balance. We are in the middle of the audit. Zeke, I've sent him stacks like this of all, everything that we have, our bank statements, our invoices, all of that. He's been going through them. I'm out next week, so we will meet the week after. It's just typical questions that he has to ask, nothing earth-shattering. I am going to be asking him on some of the land purchases, the entries that are showing up, making sure we handled any of that correctly. I like having the CPA review all that for us, and I know he'll do that. He has not called with any issues, so I'm not expecting, really, the amount of entries and activity we have is not huge. So I don't expect there to be any problems, but we have started on that, and he has all of our information, thanks to Bobby prior to me, and I've just kept the system going, so he's got everything. Any other questions? That's it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Any question on financials? I would entertain a motion to accept. If there's not,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yes, Kim. Thank you. We'll go right into old business. We've got several things we're going to work through. And first thing, Mariah, if you will, if you're ready, we'll talk about our easement committee and what they've been working on and what we're going to be talking a lot about tonight. So if you would kick that off if you're ready.
Yes. If you guys have looked at Trello recently, I spent the better part of today calling everyone that we had not heard back from in Hot Spring County that we do have the route for, and got a hold of quite a few of them. Some of them had just had a couple questions. We got it sorted out, and they are going to be signing and sending their easement document in. A couple others had not received a letter yet, or it was sent to the wrong address, so I've got some new letters that I sent out to them for the easement acquisition, and then a couple of them said that they had them signed and just forgot to send them in. So we'll get a few more easements. You can check it on Trello. There's a few that are under negotiation because the wrong phone number is in there. Either the phone number was disconnected or I couldn't get a hold of them, so I'll have to dig into how I can get a hold of those people a little bit later. There's only like 5 of them. So other than that, we've been making progress on the Hot Spring County easements. I passed out to all of you guys, I drafted 3 different letters that are in front of you. There's one, the easement agreement document that you guys have already seen and we've approved to send out with the easement. Whenever we're getting easements in Hot Spring County, that's the letter that's been out to everyone in Hot Spring County for acquiring the easements there. So you guys, I just wanted to give you guys a copy, and there's copies up here too. And then the second one is it says at the top, Saline Regional Water Treatment Plant Project, update for nearby property owners. I would like to send this letter out to anyone that is going to be near the water treatment plant property that we bought, because we've received quite a few questions on, are there smells associated with the water treatment plant, and is there a lot of noise and things like that. So I want to make sure people kind of know what's going in there and have a contact that they can reach out to with any questions that they've got. Probably should have done this a little bit ago, but better late than never, I suppose. So if everyone's okay with that one, I will also be sending that one out, probably Monday. And then you've got the one for the survey, and that will be whenever, hopefully we choose a route tonight, and once we pick a route that we're at least going to look into, before it is surveyed, we will be sending these letters out to people and give them at least a couple weeks to get the letter, call, ask questions, send questions to the email, anything like that, but just so that they're aware that there's going to be surveyors around the area and potentially in their yards, and just kind of what that means in the process. So you guys should all 3 have copies of all 3 of those. And again, there's copies up there if anyone wants a copy. We also, I did want to point out that we got the water industry as a whole, got the State of the Water Industry report from American Water Works Association back for 2025. I will say that number 3 in the ranking of issues facing the water sector was long-term drinking water supply availability. So you can tell that all your customers that we are doing everything we can to mitigate. I mean, we follow most of those problems, but that's a good problem to be mitigating. And then more about the RFQ. We got 2 submittals from the RFQ for easement negotiation services. We, as a committee, chose to move forward with discussions with Volkert. We did not feel that the other firm that submitted had great feedback from their references, so we decided to go with Volkert first, as we'd heard really good things from their references. We had a really good first meeting with them. We got to hear more kind of about how they would approach the easement acquisition stuff. We really liked the process. They aren't really necessarily local. They have one person that works for them that lives in Benton, but other than that, they don't have a ton of local experience or a ton of, or at all, experience with water line projects or sewer line projects. Most of their work is overhead, like electric, and a little bit of gas, but that's mostly in Louisiana. Then we had a second meeting with them, and the price was, that's when we discussed price, and it was, I think, a lot more than any of us were expecting, and also a lot more than we were comfortable with. So we kind of talked it through, what that means as a committee, and what our next steps could be, and how we could, you know, have some kind of innovative solution. And what we kind of came up with is that we're hoping that the board, and this is obviously all up for discussion, but we were hoping that the board would approve the committee to have about a $250,000 budget to either negotiate a scaled back deal with Volkert or a different third party, or we continue to get these easements ourselves and see how that goes. We obviously know we need additional help, but we don't feel like it would be worth the investment that they were asking. However, we have not countered a price back with them. We felt like $250,000 would be more than enough for us to at least get started on, and a good budget that we wanted to bring to you guys. We're just kind of asking the board to give us the flexibility to decide how we use it moving forward to get these easements.
One comment. So 2 is all we have talked about. That's the only one that I know that we have. Do we have a third party? Do we have another?
No.
We don't have one yet, so.
No, we've talked about kind of getting innovative and seeing what other options are out there, but we haven't necessarily picked a third. No, because only 2 submitted for the RFQ. So there are other options. It's not just, we don't just have to choose between the 2 of these. I mean, we did the RFQ process and we didn't necessarily like what we were given, so.
I know we used one on a smaller scale years ago. It was kind of a private type person.
Yes.
And it saved us a ton of money. I would be interested in looking.
Yeah.
See what else is out there.
Right, and that's kind of what we were planning on doing with the budget, just because we know we've been working really hard on the route and kind of, you know, staying along utility, things like that, looking at different routes and the different property owners along those routes, and we feel like we can probably, you know, work with the property owners a lot on our own as a board, and then, you know, we shouldn't need a third party to go get every single easement that we're getting, so.
No. Questions, comments, anybody else?
I would hesitate giving that authority to use a third party, because then it would not follow procurement protocol, which then would not allow us to get that reimbursed from the county.
Well, I don't think that I was saying necessarily that we'd sign a $250,000 contract with someone as a third party.
If you're paying somebody $250,000.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily like a lump sum that I was just, we were, you know, going to hand anyone.
If it's a total of, even if it's if it adds up to 250, it's one project. It ends up being, if it's more than 30,000, you have to go through a procurement process.
Okay, Perry, what are our options for, if we don't choose Volkert or we don't choose the other one that submitted, what are our options?
Right now, you're wanting a motion to either go forward and offer, counter Volkert, or set a budget at a lower amount, or terminate discussions with Volkert. You've already made this, and the board needs to confirm the decision or the recommendation not to pursue Pinnacle. At that point, that process is over with, and we're back to square one. We can look for a contract below the threshold amount. We can amend and existing contract we have. I don't know that Chris has those people make a debut. Or we can put it out for bid again with a different set of requirements and a different set of expectations. Those are our options. So right now, I think the immediate option is to decide whether you even want to make somewhat of a counter budget for accounting. Volker, we're terminating discussions with them altogether. That's
Yeah, I think I'd advise that we at least give a counter to them of the 250. I mean, they gave us a price that they felt comfortable with, but we never really countered and saw what we could get back for what we feel comfortable budgeting. So I guess, Todd, it wouldn't be for necessarily third party. I guess we'd be asking for $250,000 to negotiate with Volker, who submitted the proposal in the RFQ, which would be the process we're following, and see what we can get for $250,000.
Okay.
Sounds like there were 2 or 3 things in there that Mariah had that she needs us to take action on. The easiest one for me is the letters, because I read every one of them, and she does a fantastic job in wordsmithing. So I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the appropriate distribution of the letters that she provided, and get that out of the way.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take care of that. While Bobby's writing, so we cannot consider a third party? We can get it done?
this first.
Okay, good. Okay. There's a lot of money at stake here.
And you need a second on my motion,
Yes, sir.
too, before it dies.
Yeah,
Second.
whatever. Yeah, I was waiting on Bobby to stop writing.
Yeah, we've been there now. I'm not messing with him.
I heard Dickie say, while Bobby's writing, so everybody just stay quiet.
Yeah.
Guys,
All right. Do we have a second?
Jamie?
Second.
Jamie? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I agree. Now, so on the other one, Counselor, we will, like you're talking about, go back, try to deal with them, talk them down, if you will.
Yeah.
If that's possible. I'd definitely be in favor of all of that.
Okay.
So we need a motion to authorize the actions recommended by the easement committee? Is that
Yeah,
covered?
basically, the only thing that you guys are authorizing us to do is to negotiate on a budget of $250,000 with Volker and see if their scope can match what we're comfortable with for that budget. So we're saying we're comfortable with that budget of
Are you comfortable with
$250,000.
that? Based on, because I don't know how many, I looked at earlier this week, and, I mean, the Hot Springs portion, I think there's only 20 more easements?
Yeah, I think that we can get the hot spring. I felt, after doing all those phone calls today, yeah, I felt very comfortable getting those hot springs.
I know, it's
easements in-house.
almost
Everyone
nothing.
was so nice, yeah.
Was that included,
So we did it based off of 120 easements. So that would be about $2,000 in easement, $2,088 in easement. That would be the $250,000,
Okay, so okay.
yeah.
And it's not going to be a lump sum, it's going to be based on easements, and your goal to negotiate.
It'd be a per track, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm
yeah.
comfortable with that.
So
Yeah,
basically, we're saying you're giving us a $250,000 budget to negotiate with Volker. If they come back and they don't have any,
Yes.
if they're kind of like, not worth it to us, or if they're,
Okay.
or we'd only get you, 20% of the easements, then I don't know that we'll move forward with them.
Okay.
Probably abandon the process and
Okay.
rediscuss
I'm
what to do.
comfortable
So
with
that's what we're asking for.
Yeah.
Mike, you want to make that motion too?
sure. I make a motion that we accept the easement committee recommendations and authorize their further negotiation.
Of 250,000.
That's fine. Yeah. If you want to put that number in there, that's fine too.
How do you spell that, Volk?
It's VOLKERT.
K-E-R-T,
T.
okay.
And then I've got one more thing.
We need to get a second before we get too far.
Oh, sorry,
That's my fault. I was just.
sorry.
You're good.
You ready, Bobby?
Jamie,
Jamie second.
Jamie seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Whenever, this kind of is premature, but I guess if we pick a route tonight that we want to pursue the committee would also like permission for us to start the same process that we started in Hot Spring County with the appraisals, to come up with a price that we're going to be offering for the easements in Saline County. So I just need a motion to move forward with that as well.
I think that's already, because we gave that authority from the get-go. I don't think you
I
can.
think we did for Hot Spring County. I didn't know if we did for, we did for
That's a whole
that.
route.
Okay, well, I'm gonna contact, our
Would you
appraiser
agree?
then. Okay.
You don't need to.
And I want to mention this too, it may get some laughter, but I think that in our packets that we give to these property owners, there are some out there that might actually have an advantage by donating their property. And I think we should make it easy for them to do that and include in the, our donation sheet. Because, I mean, there are lots of different tax ramifications for some people, that it might actually be better for them if they donated rather than had to show that bit of income. And so to me, if those folks are out there, let's at least spark that thought in their mind and make it easy for them to do it if they want. I've been surprised by some donations in the past, as recent.
On the easement letter that we send out, I can put it as an option if you would like to donate the easement instead of be compensated for it, please contact us.
That'd be fine, okay. I mean, but just, spark that thought, because I know there are some folks out there, that.
I will add that to the letter then.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
To your point, the board is voting to approve very specific letters, which is kind of unusual, if I may just say that. Can the motion that has already passed be modified so that letters like these, so that some artistic license can be taken? I've never seen a board approve the exact language of a letter before.
I would disagree with you, but she had them there, she asked for authorization, so I was trying to make it easy.
Your idea would be easier implemented if you could just get a little bit of fudge language approving the gist of those letters.
Since we've already done that, we probably need to do a different motion then to authorize.
Amend it.
We've already done it, we've already approved it, you can't go back and amend.
Oh, he's gonna kill us.
How about we leave it, and if it comes up in discussion, that is an option, because when you're discussing this with the property owners, they might say, I don't want money for it, because it'll hurt they gotta show it. Then we can offer it as an option and just leave the letters the way they are.
Yeah,
That does happen. They will ask you, can I trade the property for meters or cut rate or not pay
and
a
I think
bill?
that's something that we would negotiate
And
as
we
the
do that.
easement committee in
We
our
do that right
conversations.
there.
We've got the authority to do that,
Be
so.
sure it's all above
Yeah.
board,
Yeah.
So you'll get asked everything in the world.
Yeah, I'm not sure you actually need a motion to do that. We're kind of expecting y'all to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I agree.
Just wanted to be safe and make sure that everyone approves of those letters before we send them out. And
Yeah.
you guys are wondering what in the
Yeah,
world
no,
we just
yeah.
sent out.
But I agree with Perry, I mean, they don't have to bring every single little letter to us to approve. I mean, as long as it's continuing along the path that we've authorized them to work, right?
I think we'll continue to bring anything that we send out to the public to you
It's
guys, just out of
substantial?
respect for the board. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
gotta keep the direction.
It makes it better when you guys comment on it and we make some changes and stuff anyway, so.
Okay. Well, I just don't want to hold you up.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
We already sent the easement ones out, I mean, obviously to the Hot Spring County, and I had sent that one out in an email to the board, so.
Is that all? No motion, we're good to go?
I think
Good
we're
That's all I've got.
with that? What about the RFQ for legal services?
That's later on the agenda.
It's down there
Yeah,
on that?
it's number 4
Yes.
on the agenda.
I'm kind of saving number 1 to move it to the bottom, but that's okay. We can do that later.
Which one?
Number 4, if you had rather.
Do you want a motion to
RFQ.
move number 4 to number 2?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion
Yeah, go ahead.
to move number 4 to number 2 on the agenda under
Second.
old business.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right.
Who second that?
Todd did.
Todd seconded it.
It's Todd, yes. All right, what do we have on RFQ for attorneys? We have 2, yes. Everybody familiar with these, had a chance to look at them? One is Harry Young, and then Eldridge and Friday Firms, who it is. We have 2 of them. If there's any question, if there's not, I would entertain a motion to accept one of those.
I know we stick with Perry and him.
I would like to have some discussion with Perry
Sure.
on that.
Would he-
He left, out of respect.
He's on.
I understand why he did, but I would like to ask him. My only,
He left. I see him on the phone. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right
He was
there.
gonna step out while we was talking.
yeah, and I understand that, and that's being respectful, so we can speak freely of that.
Big freedom.
I would just like to know, because he does represent Salem water users also, if there is a conflict between Saline Regional Public Water Authority and Salem water users, how is he going to address it?
It has happened before, and he has used different ones. He steps out. He'll do it quickly, too.
He will not represent either party?
No, he would go with, I guess if he was with Saline Regional, he would have someone else do Salem. He has done that, I'm trying to think of his name, Ralph Ohm, you know who he is, Hot Springs, Judge Ohm, way back there. If he had a conflict with something that he thinks is a conflict, I assure you he will send somebody, or one of his partners.
Well, I don't mean a conflict, I mean, there's a disagreement between
Salem and,
the Saline Regional.
I see what you're saying.
yeah.
It's sort of like, if, you know, I wouldn't have Baxter, since he represents the city of Benton, you know, also if something happened where there was a legal issue between Saline Regional, I don't mean a conflict he can't be here, who is he representing? Or is he going to exclude himself from either side?
He is very good about that. If it even.
Well, I just,
We can take care of that, but I assure you he will. I don't know what Salem's conflict will be.
again, don't know, we don't know what the future is, don't ever know.
Yeah.
As you've said, Vicki and Bobby hope to ride into the sunset here in a few years, and we don't know who the new person is.
Yes,
You know, I mean, it's just, again,
I agree.
who's going, if there is a legal issue between the 2 parties,
Sure.
Best thing to do is get him here now.
I agree. How is he going to handle that?
Yeah.
How is that going to be addressed?
You know, we didn't ask him.
I know, I agree.
No, it's good. These questions are what we have to have.
Right, because it is a legal conflict.
Can I go get him?
Yeah. Oh, Aaron? Yeah.
But otherwise, I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's my only.
And nothing against the Friday Firm. We will be using them.
Well,
Very good.
to be personally with someone, because Ryan represents AMRC.
Yeah.
Right, as
I
well.
thought about that, but I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah.
And he also represents a lot of cities in here. He
Yeah, he
represents
represents
Brian,
us.
he represents me, and
Counselor, board just has one question. Question came up, what if there is some kind of conflict between Salem and Saline Regional somewhere, and it is an issue, would you recuse yourself and have another one if it became necessary?
Of course, and if I'm disqualified, so too am my law partners, so we would go to the Friday Firm as our backup counsel.
Anybody else? I knew that, but I wanted to ask. I've been through that with you. I know how you are.
So basically, you would separate yourself from both parties?
Yes, I can't represent you.
Either way. Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay, thank you.
Motion?
Mike already made that.
All in
I'll second
favor,
it.
say aye, and we'll
Aye.
period. Opposed? Thank you. Unanimous. Period. Thank you,
Who's
sir.
second?
Thank you all.
Mike,
Who's second?
Mike?
No, Mike made the motion.
I made the motion.
Todd,
Todd second, yeah. Yeah. I was talking while he was writing. See, I know what he's gonna say to me after me. Sorry. Okay, move that out of the way. Moving. Would anyone have a problem with moving number 5 to number 2?
I mean, 3.
Number 3, you mean?
make a motion to move number 5 to number 3.
Thank you.
Oh, she is.
Got a motion and a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Leanne? Where is she? I haven't
She's
seen her.
right there.
Yes, ma'am.
Who made that, a second?
Kim. Kim seconded. I made it.
1 second, lady.
Okay.
When we're riding, everything stops.
Good.
Good to know.
Well, if y'all want it right, you better
Yeah.
stop.
And we want it right, my friend.
Go right ahead, Kim.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just felt it was time for me to come back in and give you a report on where we are with the financing.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I'm not here to provide you with a signed commitment from anyone, but I do want to let you know we've had several meetings with both Arkansas Natural Resource Division, and I've participated in a meeting with a federal loan program that does projects like this. So we continue to research avenues for the financing, and we will continue to do so. In addition, we are also looking to identify some federal grant opportunities. I've talked with a couple of people about some opportunities that we might be bringing to you to consider. Obviously, I'm not in the grant business, but we do have connections that might identify some opportunities. So I'll be back to you to report on those.
Good. Good. We get this easement thing, if not tonight, very soon, get that settled. We'll probably need to visit
Yes.
and maybe even have a meeting and pick that ball up and get it moving.
Makes a lot of sense.
We'll be in touch. Thank you for
All right.
coming, Leanne.
Thank you.
Good job.
Are we utilizing Central Arkansas Planning and Development District to assist us with any grant?
That's a good question. We've actually talked about that.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, we've not reached out to them yet, but they are on the list of people we need to talk to.
We've used them on a lot of different projects, and they'll take a lot of that work off of you. But of course, they do have a fee, but that's engineered into the grant, and they are paid out of the grant. So it usually is.
All right.
So, so you're going to be following up with them, is that,
Well, we're adding them to the list of people to be contacted.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. That's all I got, Bobby. Sorry about that.
All right, last thing, let's talk about the easement and the meeting, we'll move into that. Mariah, anything else from the easement committee? I know we got.
Nope, we already covered those
We got
RFQs.
all that, we're done. Mr. Dunn, if you're ready, let's talk about a route and what you have in store for us.
I don't have anything new to report.
Can you just pull up the map of all the
Yeah.
options?
We're gonna look at something.
Sir?
Yeah. I said, we're gonna look at something.
Yeah, I mean, I have no news since our last meeting regarding this
Okay?
that I could think of. Did we meet before or after the last meeting with our guy?
Before.
Can't remember. Todd and I met with our guy.
Says,
Was that since the last meeting? Yeah, I think it was the next day.
Yeah, you told us, Southwest Trail easements out, and,
RDOT, we don't want to be on the right of way.
Yeah.
RDOT doesn't want us on the right of way. The Southwest Trail easement idea is not a valid idea. I had a good long meeting with the folks down at RDOT, and so I think we don't want to be inside the right of way. Not to say we can't be just outside the right of way. They're fine with that, of course.
Right.
And we may utilize the right of way.
to work on.
If we are just outside the right of way, we may utilize the right of way here and there as needed, and they're fine with that, but just not perched inside the right of way and all the way down. That's not a feasible idea.
Can you, I'm sorry, Bobby, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Can you remind us which one of these routes utilize that section of the Southwest Trail
So it'd be,
we're talking about?
None of them,
None of them.
none of them use.
None of those used it at all?
right, the Southwest Trail is partially on some of the right of way down Highway 70, not all of it.
Right?
But this one that's labeled, this pink labeled C, you'll see it falls down right down Highway 70 is the one that is identified as the path that goes down.
Okay, so to utilize that, we would just about have to go with the one that's in blue there, and then get back over to the yellow? Is that, am I reading this right?
Well, it would be the one that's in pink, to somehow get out here to the right.
Oh, okay.
And then follow the right of way as far
I got you.
as
I got
far as we can.
Okay.
The path of least resistance from the reservoir north to the right of way, and then somewhere around Fairplay Road area-ish, depending on.
But if I remember correctly, that was the most expensive route too, wasn't it?
No,
See?
the one all the way up and around
The
was.
one, I got you,
This
okay.
route goes north of everything and swings all the way around.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, all these routes in here generally, near the same price, near the same cost estimate based on the numbers that we put together. But C is the one that, try to get out to the highway right away and
Quick and
follow
straight.
Highway 70, all the way down to close to the interstate interchange there between Highway 70 and the interstate, and then cross the interstate there. And so, and then from there, that's a different, from there, that's a different discussion, but.
So the least impact on people, is that, I know we talked about that before.
I would say, that's a matter of opinion.
Yeah, I would say that as far as looking at them, I know there's going to be plenty of more discussion, but from my position, I prefer C2 based on listening to the public comment and looking at it. I think it has the least amount of effect on people's property. It follows it has the possibility to follow property lines very closely, and it also is following existing utilities routes as closely as possible, which is what we were asked to do. And I think it makes the most sense for the project and the water line. I think people are going to be a lot more open to giving us an easement if there's already an existing utility or a road there and we're hugging their property line as close as possible. So my preference would be C2, and I would make a motion to adopt it, but I know there'll be more discussion.
I'll second your motion, just because I don't want it to die, for lack of a second, because I think that you're right, that's going to be the route that has the least amount of pain and the most acceptance from the get-go. The others,
Here, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Before we make a motion.
Yes.
C does look like a very good, my only concern with C is the feasibility from, and again, I'm only been here 2 years, so I'm remembering these street names by memory. Casey West along Highway 70 to, and there's a horse track, 1 mile road.
But it's 10 Mile Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's before, we cut up
Right
before.
beside that track.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even in that area,
Well, I'll say, good point,
Yes.
and I'll say
Big Creek
again,
Crossing.
whatever route is chosen, it's all subject to feasibility and constructability.
Right.
And
Right.
our field work has got to vet these things out.
Okay.
But we have to give you a route to be able to do that.
But if you go up there and you're not able to, because when you look at that, there's some houses very close to the road, the highway right away.
Which would possibly exclude that from being,
So you won't even be able to do C at all.
well, one property wouldn't stop us from that, I wouldn't think.
If you can't go between the highway right away and the house, you're gonna go around the house, you think? Or,
We just have to get,
Okay.
start studying it. I mean, we just have to have a corridor to start studying these types of things.
okay.
Just being on the easement committee and nothing else, there is a straight east-west line behind everybody's property, but I understand the utilities prefer something that's more accessible. We're not stuck where you're talking.
Yeah,
And there's been the thought, it's been discussed, it's nothing that's been concretized. And again, it's just as being on the committee of crossing Highway 70 and along the north side, it's even more sparsely populated than along the south. Those are all three of those are options.
that was my
There's
biggest
very few
concern.
property owners, if we're able to get along the route of C and stay along property lines and existing utilities, that we would have to get easements from to get us to 70,
To get to 70,
to get to 70.
yeah. Okay. I'm good with attempting C.
Are you good with attempting to?
2, you're not going to go in south of Jackman Road. I don't know where you're going to put that water line.
Until we
This is
have
just a
area
survey.
to-
I know, but you're not putting it south of Jackman Road. There's 500 acres of commercial property that's fixing to be developed. Where are you going to put that?
Well, I haven't been given the route to study yet.
I know.
I don't know.
Well, I've looked at it and I know what's going in there.
Right, it will get good.
I mean, that's the issue is you're not going to be able to be along the highway right away because there's a 12-inch water line and then the commercial property's right there. And the north property, they're building a wall along the north side of that property line.
I'm not suggesting we are.
Okay.
I mean,
But that's where that line is south of Jackman.
Well, it's meant to be a corridor. I think
Okay, so you're saying you might be up actually in the orange, might be your corridor.
Perhaps.
Yeah, once you get to
That's my point.
yeah.
We have to have a path, if we know that we're trying to get to that power line.
I agree. Getting to the power line and being along that power line easement is the best way. I just don't know how you're going to get to it that far south. That's going to be the issue.
I think we need to give them a specific corridor based on that map instead of, well, you might be able to do a little bit of 2 and a little bit of 1 or end up in orange. Because if we go all over the map, then we're going to have Christ engineers all over surveying a million places and.
And then with that said,
That just doesn't seem-
I would have to go C1. Because I do not see how you're going to be south of Jackman Road. I mean, it's just too populated, and it's going to be too populated. And I know they're, literally, the north side of that, they're building a wall along the north side where my distribution line, and I'm having to bring that down. And there's actually a school, I think, fixing to be built out there.
Yeah, I think we can have conversations with the developers that'll be out there in the property. I mean, I think people, I mean, all we can do is talk to people. All we can do is survey it. If he can't do it, then he can come back and tell us that he can't do it.
If C goes,
I agree with C. I'm good with C, starting there and starting to move.
I think it's a 2 point.
But I think you're going to have to look at, you're either going to be C2 and C1. I don't think you're going to be able to be south of Jackman Road. I don't think you can give them a very specific area because I don't think he's going to get there, based on what I know about south of Jackman Road. Because there's another subdivision, the subdivision that already came and appealed to the city is getting another route outside of that subdivision west of Mountain View so they can build those houses. I mean, it's, that is what
I think
they're-
you got some very valid points here, but we've got to give Matt some direction here
I agree.
if we are going to continue moving forward.
I agree.
And to me, it sounds like a consensus is developing around C We're just not sure where we go after C with 1 or 2.
I agree.
And I think that after Matt does a little bit more research, exploration, whatever, we may have a problem with C where C won't work, which makes all this discussion kind of, but I think we empower him to check out C and then recommend to us or come back with his findings on whether 1 or 2 is the next.
Well, it would
Point.
likely be one or a combination of both.
Yeah, it might be.
Where-
And so C, I think, is really the only thing that we can really probably authorize this evening without you having some more information as to where we need to go from there.
Mr. Mayor,
Does that make sense?
Mr. Mayor, he's unable to even look at it until we could say something like, please explore 1 and 2 lightly and tell us what you recommend, but he's not even going there until this board gives him that authority.
Right.
correct.
And that's why I'm saying, I think we need to step back a little bit and authorize C and hold off on saying where we go from C, and get some more information. Does that make sense?
You can authorize him to look at both.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not even going past the end of C until you say something.
Okay.
I don't think we should authorize both 1 and 2 yet. If we're only comfortable with C, then we're comfortable with C. I'm not super comfortable with him exploring 1 right off the bat.
Well,
I think that's a
I
technical
guess-
survey letter.
I guess the thought is, he needs to do a high level of 2, or some level of 2 to see where it's going, how he can even get through there. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like he's saying,
Can you do more than
we should even look at it.
Can you do more than a desktop that,
Well, we can come back and say, look, try to refine it further for your consideration, of course. I mean, that's what I'm gonna do on every inch of this now. We'll get C and come back hopefully in a month and say, here's how we propose to get out to the highway, and I'll give a report on the route continuously.
But for the sake of moving the project forward, then I would withdraw my original, I don't really want to, but I will withdraw my original motion, and I will make a motion that we at least at this step adopt C as a route that we prefer Matt to begin surveying and looking at once survey letters are sent out.
And since I was the second, I'll agree with that change in my second.
Aaron, if you will, let us get through this, buddy, and I'll come back to you, okay?
Some knowledge on
And then call for the question.
Okay, I appreciate it, Aaron.
I call for the question, Dickie, on C, the motion on C, and we're only talking about C. We're not talking about 1
I
or
think
2.
he's got it.
Yeah,
So far, I have a motion to adopt Route C and to begin surveying for the route, and that's all I've got.
After survey letters are sent out.
After survey letters are sent out.
Corridor C.
No, all of C.
Corridor.
Corridor C.
Corridor C,
Corridor C.
yes. Corridor C.
so we won't be making the decision at this meeting.
Not the whole line.
RC, sounds like.
Yeah.
C for sure.
C.
That's a lot.
Well, we need to call for a vote.
Yeah, and I call for the question, so we need to vote on that first, and there is no discussion.
Okay.
And you need further refinement on how we're gonna get from the end of C to the power line.
Right, that's gonna come later.
That's fair.
But we're screwed up here on our Robert's Rules of Order.
However, we're gonna get to the power line, which is
And-
part of 2.
Yeah,
Again, I call for the question, we need to vote on the call for the question.
all right. Bobby, would you read what you have there?
I have a motion by Mariah, second by Mike, to adopt Corridor C and begin surveying after letters are sent out.
Yeah, that's the call for the question, you need to get a vote on that first, and then
Okay.
we vote on the motion, if it passes.
You want to call for a vote?
You lost me, Mike.
Yeah.
Now, we gotta vote on the call for the question first, which stops everything, stops your discussion and everything, where Robert's Rules of Order, you vote on that, If the board agrees with the call for the question, then we vote on the motion. I know I made it clear as mud, didn't I?
Yes.
Mike made a motion to vote on the call for questions. Who do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Now,
Now, motion for the Route C. And we're only talking about C. We're not talking about 1 or 2. As I understand.
We have to get
But
from
we-
C to
read
wherever
that.
we need to
I
go.
have a motion made by Mariah to adopt corridor C and to begin surveying after letters are sent out. Second by Mike.
Any questions?
Period.
Is it?
Exclamation mark.
Question mark?
Yeah.
We vote, there is no discussion. Vicki?
Discussion.
No, there is no discussion. We've already called for the question.
Good God.
I might ask. All right, we're gonna do C, the beginning of C, and then we're gonna send out letters.
We're going to send out letters first.
First.
Okay.
I am going to we're going to get the property owners along corridor C. I'm going to send out survey letters to
That's what
property
I
owners
meant.
along corridor C
Thank you.
before Matt is going out to survey. I will let him know a week or two after.
I will read it again. Mariah made a motion to adopt corridor C and to begin surveying after letters are sent out to the property owners.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then perhaps we could get some of the local landowners down in there, in this area of Route 1 and 2 to assist with the research on how we can plow through that area to get to where we need to go. I'm looking at some local landowners. in
Wouldn't that
area.
apply in public comment?
You were down here too.
Yes, ma'am?
Just you down here too.
Good, good.
Wouldn't that fall under public comment?
It will.
I'm not necessarily talking about tonight, I'm
No.
talking about maybe next week or.
Yeah, we want their help.
I'd like to hear it during public comment for
We
sure.
definitely want their help.
We will.
If
And
there's some, if there's
so
some input.
the main thing that I want to be clear on is that we don't go where we're not supposed to be, and we do this right. So
We don't surprise anybody.
Right here and here, okay? That's all.
Do
All
you want
right,
to open up for public comment?
yes. Let's go through new business. Anything in new business? I don't have anything. Anybody else got anything? If not,
I made a suggestion by email that you
Yes.
may want to take up.
if not, we'll go into public comment now, and we're through. All we like is adjournment.
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
I sent an email or something that you may want to take up, but it's up to y'all to take it up regarding the reservoir access or not. It's just something that I've been.
Have we purchased the property yet?
Yes.
Yes,
We have purchased it,
yes, we have.
so we pay for it?
Yep.
Yep. I paid for it.
Of course, they, I know.
Does this have to be done now? I'd like to get into the public comment and move on this, be sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
You okay with that, Matt?
I'm
And we'll come back to this.
We're not slowing you down.
No,
by tabling a month.
yeah.
You've got corridor C now.
Yeah.
We can't get into the reservoir though.
You've got corridor C.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Have you got enough to work on for 30 days?
Well, we're working.
All right,
Yes, Steve.
okay, good enough. And we'll work on this. All right, public comment. You ready? Anybody?
I've been here the last couple of months, Vicki, and I've kind of let y'all been doing your thing. I just saw this map not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
With choosing a corridor, I'm looking at it from a totally different perspective. Land values is a huge thing. impact to landowners and land values.
Sure.
If you pick the most valuable routes, your appraisals will come back super, super high. I'm looking at D. I mean, that's how much of that is timber. That looks like it's going through all of RMS north of Highway 5.
Yeah, it's all-
Probably, I think there's a big, huge power line going down through there, east-west, that whole entire way too. I don't know who drew that up, but I mean,
I don't believe it's power line.
oh, I know there's a power line going through there. I've surveyed that before. At some point in time, it goes right down the middle of Kentucky Refuge. I didn't know, you can't really tell us, what we're doing on
See the
this.
power line right here? Here's the power line. That's just barely is on the sheet. That's it right there. We're well south of that power line.
So what is that going through there?
What is what?
The blue,
I think that's a problem that everybody here is kind of questioning. There's not enough detail to see exactly where the issues are, or where these streaks of blue, green, purple, yellow are. That's just a question, but
I believe it's been on the website for the last month.
yeah, but you can't tell who's. I mean, you got a road here and a road there, and I mean, you're really having to guess.
I mean, I tried to overlay Google Maps just to figure out where it was.
I mean, I
It's
can.
hard to do.
I know where it is, but I'm. Normal landowner's not gonna see how this affects them. So I think y'all have done a great job in trying to present this and trying to make it better than it was, don't get me wrong. But still, any one of y'all probably can't go put your finger on your piece of property from this map right here.
Not from that map, no.
No,
Not from that one.
so nobody in this room exactly knows if they're in the yellow, green, blue, yellow, or not.
Yeah, that's
That's
understandable.
the whole thing
I
that we
think,
try to bring to y'all and try to get y'all to
Right.
get better so that you know where you are and what you're hitting. I don't know that anybody in here, except maybe the two or three of us that deal in this stuff every single day and deal with land, could actually go put their finger on their piece of property.
But that line, I think, if I'm correct, was supposed to be depicted at 1,000 feet wide, is that right? Okay, we only need 50. So we're saying, hey, here's a corridor we're going to study.
So, my question on that, so if you had on an exact line, exact path, you only touching 100, 200 parcels. 1,000 foot wide, you're gonna be touching 1,000 parcels. Do all 1,000 people get notices that it
That's
may
right.
be on them? Or
That is
what?
correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. That's just.
And this is-
Because I know a lot of people in this room had some questions as to that.
Now, when you get up to the Highway 70, we know which ones those are going to touch.
Yeah.
It's not 1,000 feet wide, that's why that line is so small.
I understand that.
Okay, but that other part, we're going to send
About the
letters,
wide ones.
yeah, we're going to send letters to every one of those people, and surveyors will potentially be on their property.
Okay.
And again, remember the difference between corridor and route. When we get down to selecting a
know
route,
that, sir.
when we get down to selecting a route, you will have very minute details. You'll be able to see all those
Right, I've seen
things,
that
everything.
before on the phone.
Yeah.
A guy on my property, yeah.
And so right now, this is a high altitude view, yeah.
Yep, I've seen that little bitty line before,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, appreciate it.
thank you, Aaron. Paul? Yes, sir.
I'm back again. Well, I appreciate the board listening to the public, and we didn't get to talk about it when y'all called for the vote a while ago, but maybe y'all have a better look than I do. That's Greek to me, and I'll kind of piggyback off what Aaron said. And again, I'll get phone calls about this starting tomorrow, and the judge will too. Can somebody just tell us, y'all picked C, the pink one, and voted. Does somebody know, like, hey, it's here and it crosses Pleasant Run and hit property owner so-and-so and it goes here? I mean, I've heard from two of the property owners it affects that they're in agreement, come across. I just want to be able to tell people that call me, hey, don't panic it's way north of you, or it's way east of you, or it's west of you, or it is you. So can somebody tell us that?
Yeah, I will say, yeah, Ted Taylor and I, who's the planning director for Bryant, did sit down on Bryant's GIS and sit down and kind of look at each route, what it would look like, what the topography would look like in the elevation to make sure that we could still do the gravity along each of the routes. And C was the best one where it affects the fewest property owners. There's about 3 property owners. We've already been in contact with all 3 of them, and they're all more than willing to work with us. And they kind of said, here's where we would like it along our property if you're going to go up to C to get you to 70. It rides the property line. Again, I think there's 3 or 4. There's still a couple that we have to talk to, but all the people that we've talked to along C so far have been really willing to work with us. And there is a line that we're thinking will work, but again, we're just planning director and
Are
board
you agreeing
member.
to say what property owners those are, or if you don't want to, you don't have to?
I don't think that they wanted it public yet, but I will ask and I'll bring it back next
I've
week if
talked
I
to them
can.
too, so I know
Yes,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
The pink, where it comes out of the reservoir, it's going to stay west of Fairplay,
Yes.
west of
Yes.
Fairplay, and it goes up and hits 70 west
Yeah,
of
before,
Fairplay.
yeah, like 10 Mile Creek and the training center's right here and it goes up, it just
Okay.
follows.
So
right
everything
up.
so
Yeah.
far is west of
Yes, the
70.
person you talked to is the same person that's,
Okay.
yes.
I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
just so I can tell my neighbors that call me, so
Yeah.
far it's west of Fairplay.
Yeah, as long as that's, I mean, that's what we're hoping he's going to survey. That's what we're going to give him to survey, yes, yeah.
And probably everybody knows if they're adjacent to the Highway 70 right-of-way. I mean, so, yeah, the C and then the Highway 70 right-of-way are the 2 things that we're trying to achieve
Yeah,
now.
we haven't talked to anyone along the right of way, but I mean, if you're on the county line, yeah.
We came a long way from the first meeting I came to 3 or 4 months
Yes,
ago.
sir.
And I do appreciate the
Yes,
board
sir.
working with us landowners and the public, so I do appreciate
And
that.
we are double checking. That's why I go back 3 times.
And I'll say this too, Matt may discover something in his work on C, that he may come back and tell us that we need to look a different direction. I mean, that's what this, we've got to have, he's got to have some direction as to where to look. We can't just go out and check everything, you know?
I agree.
And on the C, back to the C and the 2 that you're discussing, along those highway right-of-ways, a commercial development in Saline County, and I believe in the city of Benton as well, those commercial setbacks are typically 45 feet at least along an interstate. So if you wanted to put in whatever, a C-store, or Sam's Club, or whatever, you have to be at least 45 feet off of the highway right-of-way. So if you have that automatic building setback that's unusable on a commercial piece of property, if you need a 50-foot right-of-way along the right-of-way, you're really only taking an extra 5 feet of usable area off that landowner. And that's something I brought up the first time that I mentioned the highway right-of-ways. And outside. They will. Yeah, that's what, I mean, I'm looking at 2 things here, Barry, you know, you got feasibility, usability of the land, and you got the value of the land. So, I mean, looking at 2 options, I mean, I only see C2 and D. That's, I mean, if you weigh those 2, you got lesser land value, probably affects less landowners going D. 2 might be shorter, less cost. So, I mean, from my professional look at it, that's what I'm looking at.
Thank you. Judge?
I think about 3 months ago when I was here, I was fairly clear, but I just want to double down on it.
I like that.
Everybody's piece of paper needs to say the same thing. So whatever it says, I need a copy of it. I'm sure Representative Childress needs a copy of it. And I would like the board to consider whom it is that's being called. And I'm a big believer that you all have the oversight. You've got contractors and subcontractors, and if they're calling about the person in their yard, I don't think they need to be calling the person that's in their yard. They need to be calling one of y'all. And so I would like to request that you consider that, is somebody up here that is knowledgeable of the project, that, I mean, I do it to her all the time, but if you're the chair of the easement committee, then that person needs to be talking to the sub that the person's calling about or getting the questions. And I really would like for you to consider doing that. They don't need to be calling me.
I agree with you, sir, and we have had some of these comments. She will be deeply involved with all those names and everything else, so.
Okay,
Let's stay with me, let's keep that. We don't want to do it
Thank
any
you.
other way.
thank you. Just give us a piece of paper when you hand them out.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Dickie,
Sir.
the judge brought up a very good point there. I mean, every one of these letters we send out, we should send a copy to the county judge and to the state representative in that area. I mean, before we send them to the public, so that
Yep.
they will know and they'll see, you know, before they get that phone call. That's an easy thing for us, but I don't think we need a motion to do that. We need
No,
to just,
it's already not in place, but
Yeah.
it's been discussed.
yeah. So, thanks for bringing it up, Judge.
It's just a matter
let's
of
just do
doing
it.
it. We'll send it to them. Yes, sir.
Destin Davis. So my question is just, so with the decision y'all made tonight, y'all are just looking at C up to Highway 70. Y'all are saying, we don't know where we're gonna go past Highway 70, correct?
Correct.
Y'all are just looking at from south to Highway 70, you ain't looking at north of it?
Not yet.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Not yet.
We're hoping Matt can tell us something that will help us to make that decision.
Okay, thank you.
Hanging out quick. I'm so used to running meetings that
Yeah.
I just naturally do it. Whether it's here or Metroplan.
Across 70 is a different animal.
Once we cross Highway 70 there at the interstate, it's just more developed, and it's gonna be a difficult, you know, to get through there, but we just need to, if I know where C ends, then I kind of know where we're going, to try to get to that power line.
That keeps the north and the east, is what you said, the two directions that have to be.
Can we agree that the power line adjacent to the electric power line is also the preferred route?
Yes.
Yes, but I think it's sticky on surveying. Because if I know that we're going with C, it's very easy for me to send out survey letters to anyone that's going to be affected and the people that we've already had conversations with. I'm not interested in surveying something that doesn't have a letter that's been sent out to someone a week or two in advance.
I'm not suggesting sending any letters out to the power line easement property owners yet. But just as, if we're going to study that segment, we can all agree that the power line is the preferred.
What do you mean by study?
The key is, how do we get from the power line to the end of C?
Yeah.
That's gonna be the key.
Yes.
I totally agree with what Matt, I think where Matt's brain is going, and so that might be bad. Is that being beside that power line affects the customers the least amount, it's gonna be good property to put.
Well, I'm all for it. I just want to make sure that we haven't notified them that we're going to.
That's right.
I'm not talking about surveying anything.
Okay, as long as there's no boots on the ground, yeah, I'm all for staying by the power
Surveying
line.
in that direction, but at least we can start zooming in on the study of the route between Highway 70 and power line.
Yeah. Nobody going out there though, knocking on the door.
So where is the
Any more questions? Anything?
I just
Yes, sir.
push the ball forward as much as possible, would it, knowing that the route from the treatment plant, more or less to Mulberry Sound, I'm not sure, the blue area, very, very top. Is that somewhere that you guys want to turn Matt loose on?
Say it again here.
I know what he's saying. The very top up there, where we're cutting across to the treatment plant, that's one solid line.
Yeah, that's, everything connects to that one,
It's from
At the
Mulberry
top.
Sound, basically.
at the very top.
Yes,
What do you think?
That's
Ray?
fine, but I need a list of people that it touches first.
we can
I
do
got
that.
that list.
Okay?
Yeah.
I can send out letters, but I'm not like a Santa's elf. I can't do it super fast, so.
Come on.
Yeah, give me a week or two to send these
She's
letters.
modest.
That'd be a very
Good point.
But that does make sense.
What I think
I get
what
it.
Gary's saying is, can we concur on this segment here?
Yeah,
if y'all can see my line.
because it's already identified as an essential corridor, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So, I mean, we've got to do that.
Yeah, just get me a list of people.
Just gonna be
Yeah.
middle.
And for that matter, the part that goes on down to where the yellow has the Y there.
I'm not gonna say that.
See what I'm
Yeah, I'm
saying?
not ready to say that quite yet.
Yeah, I'm not ready.
Well, I mean, that's all along Highway 70, but
Say it again?
I'm talking about up there just above the blue where the yellow Ys.
It's basically.
You're back at, that's another essential area, that corridor that you're saying, any one of those routes is gonna have to go through there. Even though you've got yellow over the top of the blue,
Line goes straight up.
you've got everything going through there.
Orange?
Huh?
Yeah, orange.
Yeah, orange, okay,
Oh,
Orange.
yeah.
so here's the segment that's on the power line, right there.
Can we get in the power line exam?
Okay.
We're not in
It's
it.
on the power line.
We can
So
put it right beside it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so-
Yeah.
that's the segment that I'm hearing that there's concurrence on that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And so the only segment that we need to work on is from here to here.
Yes.
Come back with some
Yeah.
ideas to further define that. But not boots on the ground.
Not boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, let's see.
Boots on the ground on sea. Once you give me time to send out a letter.
Hurry up.
You hurry up.
What are you waiting on? They just approved this.
I'll let the mayor know.
Yeah, remember, she does have a vote when it comes time to pay you.
She does, I do have to remember, she does have a day job,
Yeah, I forget that sometimes too.
which is a problem.
Any more questions? Anything? Yes, sir.
Do we need to make a motion to Perry's point of that upper area from, and I don't know how to even denote it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, he's from Highway 5 to one.
We will, last thing.
Okay, all right, that's when you know.
Yes, sir.
Who's gonna pay for all these fences, and am I gonna be able to lock the gates that I'm gonna have to keep all these clowns from riding their damn four-wheeler and company trucks going up and down? I mean, it's a water line. How many times you gotta drive across somebody's field? I'm sure it's gonna be a hillbilly highway once it gets put in there.
Yeah, once it's in the ground, well, hopefully, we're not coming back out there. I mean,
Well,
unless
does that
there's,
mean I can put up a gate and lock it?
Yep.
Yeah, as long as when we come out there, we can get in it, you'll let us in.
Well, yes, one phone call and I leave it unlocked.
Sure. Yeah.
This
But,
way, no structure. All it says is no structure on top of it. You can pasture it, cut it, cows on it, gate it, whatever, it's yours.
like a house or a shop, just so if the water line breaks, we can get in there and fix it without destroying your shop or whatever.
It'll be a
But,
call,
yes.
lock it. Yes, sir.
would I, if it happened, come across my place, who would be paying for the materials to build the fences and the gates?
If we tear them down, we put them back, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
We've done some that way, smaller jobs, and we always did that.
What's there is now is just 3 wires laying in between the weeds.
You'll have a better fence when it goes back. sir.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll all come with negotiation when we do the easement documents.
We will.
All right.
And you remind me of that. I like that. It's a good statement. Anybody else? It's a good question. Motion.
Make a motion to study the area from Highway 5 to the treatment plant once letters have been sent out.
Second.
All right, can we make a motion in public comment?
I was wondering about that.
We're in public comment
We're
right
still
now.
in the meeting there.
Yeah, we're in.
We need to like go back to an agenda item, we're in public comment.
This evening, you would need to end public comment?
I don't think it matters.
We're in session, we can make a motion
I
anytime.
don't think he needs To
do
officially do a
anything.
different Roman numeral of the.
No, we have before.
Okay.
We made them up because the
Okay.
meeting was in order. while
Yeah, as long as the meeting's in order.
Making sure.
It's just, public comment to me is like new business, old business, all through that, and then,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Go ahead. Let's
If
do
you want to,
it.
if you want to just make sure, you can always make a motion to suspend the rules.
Todd, could we have that motion again?
To study the area between Highway 5 and the water treatment plant once letters have been sent out.
No boots on the ground.
Right. And I second
Not
it.
to you, tell me.
Exclamation
Mike.
mark.
That was me second,
All
yeah.
right.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to study the area from Highway 5 to the treatment plant once all letters are sent out.
Question.
Period.
Good? Good? We ain't got period.
Bobby, did you put a period on that?
What are you looking at here, Bob?
Opposed? Thank you. Mike, go ahead.
What are we looking at here, man?
Well, that's the access corridor from Gordon Neck Valley Road to our reservoir site. Just bringing that up. And that's what I emailed out earlier this week. Jared, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take this just for a second. So, right here is the Saline, Hot Spring County line. Beneath it, the Inman Brothers Properties LLC, Inman Brothers Development LLC owned it. Above it is the Glasgow's. The Glasgow's have this private road, Glasgow Drive, that we had used as a matter of permission. In the past 2 weeks, I'm happy to report that I visited with both landowners. We obtained the Inman Brothers tract, both as to an easement along Gordon Neck Valley Road and also fee simple, 80 feet wide for the construction of our road and the placement of our pipe going north from Gordon Neck Valley from the Inmans, and the Saline County tracts, there are two of them, from the Glasgow's. The Glasgow's only requests were twofold. One, stop using Glasgow Lane. That's why we're selling you this.
Yes.
Two, when you do clear up to the south line, excuse me, south line of the reservoir site, when you do get up there, we want at least a three-strand barbed wire along the south border until you're ready to put up, your
regular fence.
FEMA fence or whatever it is.
Let me ask you this. If we've got a little time, can we add that to the agenda right quick, and we'll take care of this right now, and that's what Matt wanted to do.
Matt wants
Yes.
the board to please take up the idea that we start clearing this because we can no longer use this.
Exactly.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules and add the item to the agenda. I just done the suspend the rules just to make sure for your point.
What's the total cost now?
Well, you got an estimated cost of $350,000. That's on the upper end of that. It's completely wooded.
Second.
Yeah, we need a second on the suspend the rules.
Anybody else? Somebody second. Jamie?
Second.
I think everybody knows what that motion is.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, now then, how do we need to word this motion?
Yes.
Before we,
We should talk about it.
yes, thank you,
Got to.
because we're running out of money.
Yeah.
That's my mindset too. How soon are you gonna get to the reservoir to start doing stuff?
Yeah.
Like, can we wait a little
We're doing
bit?
stuff now. We're doing geotechnical investigation.
I thought that was, because we had approved that several months, I thought they were going to be in there several months ago.
They have been in there several times. It's not just a one-trip thing. They've been in there several times. Sir?
Why not?
Well, because they go get some data, and they came back, and then we wanted to go back and get more data.
Oh.
And we're talking to contractors about, there's a lot of rock up there, Some contractors are wanting to go in and look at it, and I can't get in there for that. So, do we have to get in there? I mean, we're gonna have to get in there before we go to construction.
I agree.
Before
Yeah.
we even bid it, we're gonna have to. So.
I agree, but if I were to do y'all's work, all we currently need is the geotechnical information. I think, we need to be watching our dollars to get to the final, so where we can bid it. We need to make sure we have enough, and I know you did your kind of outline or
Just
layout.
wanted to start the conversation.
Yeah. I'm just,
Can we do something like, an intention to buy without actually buying it yet?
We already bought it.
We already.
Well, okay, I mean, so what we're needing then is to move the road. The authorization to make the road.
to build the
To
road.
build a
Because they want us to stop using the road we're using now.
But if we're not going up there,
Yeah, logically, how many times are we going to? I just worry about when we get to federal funding, the last thing that we want is to have easements left, and the last thing we want is to run out of money before we get all the easements. So
Yep.
we're going through Saline County and we haven't even picked a corridor for the rest of the route.
Yeah.
That gets nerve-wracking thinking that we're gonna be going through areas that's gonna be some high-dollar money. Are we sure, as we're halfway through the money from the county, that we don't wanna hold off at least as long as we can?
You could table this, I mean, it's not.
I mean, we know it needs to be done, I'm just saying, right now, should we at least, maybe we just secure C and then come back to this? Maybe we secure the easements on C and see where we're at least see what the appraisals come back, I don't know,
I just wanted to put it out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It is on, it can be done at any time.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be done today.
Yeah.
okay.
Needs to be done, and we all agree
I
it
just
needs to
wanted
be done,
make
just
sure
maybe
that
not yet.
I just want to make sure that everyone understands what we gotta do and what the scope is, and
Yeah.
it can be taken.
But A, B, and C have been bought.
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, Perry negotiated it with Inman and Glasgow, so everything's bought.
And-
I wrote the check last week.
From Gordon Neck Valley Road all the way to our property, we own the full strip.
Okay.
And Ferry could tell them that it appears that there's a consensus at the board, to,
They just,
Yeah.
consensus or no consensus, development or no development, what they care about is stay off the
Yeah.
Glasgow Road.
Which makes sense, that's why they sold it
Makes sense.
to make the road.
They
But-
have been very nice.
I don't blame them at all.
But I know them.
I'm good with that.
They have been good to us.
Yeah.
Yes, they have.
So
Okay.
we're gonna do everything we can to pay them back.
All right.
So you might just keep this on the agenda and let it ride from month to month and table it. If you want to keep tabling it, just keep it on our radar.
Yeah.
That's all I would think to do.
I like it.
yeah. Save it till after we get done with the car wash.
Yes.
The what?
The car wash that Chris is gonna do to raise money for us.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah. Anything else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you.